Hi y'all, welcome back to the Traveling Texan. This is part 3 on our series of Uganda. Now I want to talk about the wildlife in Uganda. Uganda has some of the most diverse wildlife you'll ever be able to see. And it doesn't have the traditional, what you might think of as safari stuff, but you can go on safaris. First of all, in Entebbe, a city near Kampala, they have the Ugandan Wildlife Education Center. If you can ever go to that center, I would highly recommend it, and I would highly recommend doing the kind of behind the scenes, be a trainer for a day kind of thing. It was so phenomenal. We got to feed a lion, we got to feed giraffes, we got to, well, some of us had a python wrapped around us. I did not. I stayed very far away from the python. We got to watch as they released the chimpanzees out into their main yard, and a little baby chimpanzee was so adorable. She picked a flower and handed it up through the fence at me. So it was just absolutely stunning to be able to be that close to the animal. We also got to see birds and, oh, what else? There was other monkeys. There was like vervet monkeys. Oh, the elephant. We were there with a baby elephant. And the center tries to educate Ugandans who may not understand things about the animals in their country because they've not seen them. It tries to educate them, and it also rehabilitates and saves animals that otherwise would be killed. It was very funny because Ben, our friend in Uganda, had never seen any of these animals, and he was particularly terrified of the elephant. Oh, we also got to pet a cheetah, which was my absolutely favorite thing because the cheetah was just so awesome. And every time we had to convince Ben, okay, it's okay to touch it, it's okay to do this, because he had never seen these animals before. You know, we're kind of desensitized because we have zoos and stuff, but they don't really have zoos in Uganda. This place isn't even a zoo, it's more of a wildlife center, so they're more free range kind of animals. And they were animals that are rescued that would have died otherwise anyway, so they weren't captured for amusement. But Ben was very, very, I think he was braver with the python than he was with the cheetah, which, you know, I was the other way around. So he was very flabbergasted at these animals and much in awe. He wants to bring the school children to see these animals. So you can also see mountain gorillas. I did not get to see mountain gorillas. They're in a different area of Uganda that we didn't go to, but you can see mountain gorillas in Uganda. There are elephants, there are chimps, they have buffalo, they have chimpanzees, they have baboons, they have hippos, which I didn't know this. Hippos live in water during the day, but then at night they come out and they eat grass, and they can eat like tons of grass, and then they go back in the water all day. I don't know, I guess the water feels good for them to float around and they don't have to like sit down, but they digest their grass. What's also really cute is that baby hippos sit on the backs of their mothers. So if you see in pictures, you see a little head and a big head, it's because the baby hippo is sitting on the back of the mother. They also have leopards, they have lions, they have bush babies. Bush babies are very interesting. They're a monkey, or they're a type of monkey, a type of marsupial, a type of monkey, I believe. And they only come out at night, and they have no eyelids, so their eyes are always open. So my pictures are very, very red of them because you can only look at them in red light, because if you shine a bright light into their eyes, you'll damage their eyes because they don't have any way to block the light. And they sleep in the trees with their big bushy tails around their eyes during the day so that the sun doesn't hurt them. But the reason why they're called bush babies is because they literally sound like a baby crying up in the trees at night when they cry. So it's very funny to hear this sound in the middle of the night, and they don't do it all night long, so it's not annoying. It's just every once in a while you hear this kind of like baby sound, and it's actually a bush baby. They have all kinds of reptiles in Uganda, the worst being black mamba snakes, but they also have crocodiles and other types of snakes. They have pythons and various types of snakes, and I'm not a huge fan of any of these. Funny story, when we were in the lodge near Lake Imboro, the rest of the group went on a walking tour, and the guide said, if I tell you to stop, you have to stop because there's a black mamba, and if you run, it'll chase after you. And black mambas can come up to like this high, you know, on a person. And their bite is very deadly. And then the guy told them that the black mambas like to sleep in the thatched roofs of the little huts that we were sleeping in. And they all agreed not to tell me this until after we had left, probably because I would not have slept for the rest of the vacation. In Lake Mboro National Park, they have brought in Rothschild giraffes. And these giraffes used to be native to the park, and they were wiped out when they were trying to wipe out sleeping sickness. And so they've reintroduced the giraffes, and so they have them. They also have hyenas. They have warthogs, which are actually called Pumbaa in Swahili, so that's why Pumbaa in The Lion King has his name. And warthogs are funny because they're actually brown, but most of the warthogs in the parks and around in Uganda, they roll around in gray mud and it dries on their skin, so they look permanently gray, although they're actually brown. They have a million zebra, especially in Mboro National Park. And then they have these special cows called Ankole cows. And the Ankole cows' horns kind of come up and curve in, and they're very sturdy, and they actually sell stuff made out of them, and it's not illegal because it's not ivory. It's actually a cow horn. And the cows are slaughtered for meat, and they're used for milk too. But they're very substantial, big cows with these very distinctive horns. Another thing I found interesting, we took a boat tour on Lake Mboro, and there were these puffy tree things that we saw all around the edges of the lake. And I had seen them driving from Kampala to Masaka, and I'd asked Mr. Ismail and Ben what they were called, and neither really knew what they were called. I don't remember the name they gave them for me, but it, you know, it was just, oh, it's some plant. But it was very interesting to me and very distinctive, and I saw this all over the place. But when we took the boat drive in Lake Mboro, it turns out it's papyrus. So I still don't know how I need to watch a video. I don't know how they make paper from these very fluffy looking plants. But Lake Mboro is surrounded by papyrus. Also on Lake Mboro that we saw a ton of was birds. The national bird of Uganda is the crested crane, and unfortunately I didn't get to see a lot of crested cranes. I saw one or two, but not enough to take pictures. But they are actually really beautiful, and I did buy a batik by Laquanda Dominic of a bunch of crested cranes. It's an absolutely stunning piece of art, and again, if you have a chance, check out his work because he does ship to the United States and Canada, and you can't get any better. It's just one of a kind kind of stuff. But another bird that's very common that you'll see in Uganda is the starling. And apparently starlings are pests. People don't like the starlings, but they have this beautiful like greenish blue sheen to them. And I've got great pictures of them on the bird bath just with the sun hitting them. They're such a stunning bird that it's just amazing to see them, and it's kind of sad that they're not very well liked in the bird community. Another bird that's absolutely amazing to see, it stands about 3.5 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall. I mean, it's almost as Kellen is almost as tall as these birds, or the birds are almost as tall as Kellen, and they're called a shoebill, and they have this big bill that just looks prehistoric, and they just look like they could have lived with the dinosaurs as well as lived with us, and they might have. And they're often found in watery areas, some of the swampy areas of Uganda, along Lake Victoria, definitely in wetter areas you can find a shoebill. In Lake Mboro they have a ton of kingfishers, and kingfishers are like a little black and white bird. They have several different types, but mainly they're a little black and white bird. And what's very unique about them is that the kingfisher, it eats fish, and so a bird will be sitting on a branch and he'll find a fish that he wants to get, and he'll fly up and he'll hover, like literally he's like hovering in the air, and then he'll dive down and grab the fish and go up. And it's very phenomenal to watch this bird catch this fish right out of the water. But I mean, it's great to see how it just like kind of hovers right here before it hits down into the water and gets the fish. The final bird that I know about in Lake Mboro is the fishing eagle. And a fishing eagle looks similar to a bald eagle, except instead of just a white head, it also has a white chest. But when it's a baby, it looks like a mottled black and white kind of bird. It doesn't look like a majestic eagle. But the fishing eagle is very similar and is actually in the same family as the American bald eagle. So they build these huge giant nests, and they have 1 or 2 babies, and you know, the parents kind of take care of the babies until they're fully grown into their feathers and they have their white heads and their white chest. So they were very interesting to see coming from America, and having the eagle be our national bird. And then there was a bunch of other birds that I don't remember the names for, but I have pictures of almost all of them. And I was actually on that trip with some people that love birds. so they had bought a book about the birds, so they were giving us all little details about them. The wildlife in Uganda is just so diverse and so incredible that they're trying to conserve it, and they're trying to keep the Ugandan people from killing the animals just because they don't know about the animals or they don't understand the animals. So at Mahingo Lodge in Lake Mboro, they have a program that if you get a massage, the massage money goes to helping the leopards. And what they do is they will reimburse a Ugandan farmer for lost cattle if the cheetahs get their cattle, so that the farmer won't kill the cheetah. And they have a process of confirming it was a cheetah kill and all that kind of stuff. But conservation is very, very important, and I think between the conservation efforts of the national park and UWEC, the Ugandan Wildlife Education Center, that they're very important causes for Uganda and for the wildlife in Uganda. So if you have any more interest, you can check out the links to them in the comments. Thanks.